Is this a thank you for fans that stayed with the show for 6 years? I know when the show went off the air, you were saying, you want to go out on top, you want to be, but then fans wanted more. So is this just a way of giving back to them?
I mean, in a way, it's definitely a love letter to the fans. It's definitely a thank you to the fans. It's not really doing it because it's what the fans wanted, because I don't believe that's the reason to do anything. That's a recipe for disaster, giving people what they want. We wanted them to have this. That's really why we did it.
And Fred, do you have?
It felt. I mean, to be selfish, it was for me too. I really wanted to be back and do it. So it was sort of like it was a bonus, I guess. The gravy was that it's also like, and it's for you too, not just me.
Yeah.
So, but to say thanks, and I definitely saw it as that as well. But my first thought was like, selfishly, is like, oh, cool, I get to go play again, and I was pretty excited for myself.
Well, because this wasn't part of the plan, right? You didn't say, okay, we'll take some time off and then we'll come back with a movie, right? This came out of, well, I don't know, it came out of nowhere, but it's a new thing, right?
Yes, I mean, speaking from the acting perspective here, no, like we didn't know that we didn't know what Brent had planned, if he had that planned necessarily, right? I mean, that was...
Yeah, it wasn't really, it certainly wasn't a plan, but it was a notion. Like, when we wrapped the series up, the notion was it would be great if we could come back one more time and do a movie.
Right.
But we didn't know if that'd be a good idea.
Right.
I also didn't know if we could come up with a script that would justify doing a movie. Because it's weird if you're trying to convert a known 22-minute project that has a known rhythm, known characters and stuff, and try and make that live over 90 minutes is a trick. You can't just do that easily. I mean, you can do it poorly easily, but if you to do it well. So about 2.5 years after the series wrapped, maybe 3 years after the series wrapped, I started kicking around show ideas with a couple of the other writers who wrote on the series, just to see if we thought we could come up with something that would warrant doing this. Because there's no sense for, moving ahead if you can't come up with a script that would work.
Well, because the idea is you can't change, you don't want to do exactly the same thing, but you can't change it too much either, because fans go in with a certain level of expectation, right?
Yeah, it's easy to mess it up because you're walking that razor's edge.
Right.
You have to give them what they loved about the show, but you also have to give them something else because it's cinematic. And so too far one way or the other, you're hooped.
And that's what I really enjoyed about, I enjoyed a whole lot about the film, and it was really nice because we had some of the cast was able to see it a few days ago, and it was really lovely because it's a film, and it feels like that, and it's grand and great in all those ways that films move you, but it feels like home. Like the characters and the story and everything feels, it's natural, right?
Yeah.
That was always my thing. Like, when people would ask me all the time, "Are you guys doing a movie? Are you guys?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know." And then I would always turn it into a discussion with myself. I was like, "Well, what's a Corner Gas movie going to be like? How do you like? Is it in your fear? Like, when you first heard it, the first thought in my mind, one of the first thoughts was, is it just going to be like a really long episode, and that would suck, right?" And so when I first got the script, like right away, you're like, oh, it's a feature script. It's good. And so, and like you say, it's true to the series. It's still Corner Gas. Like, we're not gonna knock anybody's socks off, and it's not this whole like new thing. But it's a film. Like, it's a film. Like, it works as a film.
Well, in the first
I agree with that,
minutes,
except we are going to knock your socks off.
Right, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, in the first 5 minutes, and I don't want to give anything away, I thought, are they going this way? Is this what's happening here?
And that's...
This is different than the show.
Yeah.
But that's actually, speaking of the film, one of the things that's really exciting is if you can make it to the theater for our dates. It's a short run, December 3rd through the 7th. I really hope people do make it out to the theater, because having that, there's nothing like being in a theater and seeing a film, obviously, but the theater has some really special things that they're going to experience that you won't. Do you want to talk about any of that.
Yeah, so tell me, let's go, I'll get back to the,
Oh, sorry.
to the movie in a second,
Okay.
but tell me a little bit about what's going to happen. Like, this is an unusual release pattern, I guess they call it, right? So you're going to theaters for a few days, and then you go to VOD, right? Video on
No, first, after theaters, it goes to network.
to network.
Yeah, it goes basically theater, TV, VOD, DVD,
Right.
all kind of with no window virtually in between.
So
You know,
almost
historically,
yeah.
historically, there's always been a good chunk, a good window in between platforms, and with kind of the way everything's converging technologically and the way consumers want to digest their entertainment now, this is a project that basically has no windows. Everything's butted up. So we get the theater December 3rd to 7th. Then it's going to go to, I think, the movie network. And then it'll go to the main network December 17th.
Right.
So it's all very, very quick. Bang, bang, bang. And then VOD or DVD before Christmas.
Wow. That is fast.
Yeah.
From theater to DVD to home use, and that quick is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think it's ever been done before.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about revisiting each of these characters. It's been a few years. It didn't seem like that. I thought, has it only been a year? It didn't seem like that long. It's been a while, right? So,
6 years, is it? 6.
is it 6?
We finished filming
2000.
in 2009, April 2009, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It doesn't
insane.
seem
Yeah.
that doesn't seem possible to me.
I was 30 when we first started. I just turned 30 when we
I was
first started.
22 when we wrapped the show.
I was 56.
It was scary how easy it was
Yeah.
to fall back into it. And in a way, the movie was a godsend because even though we knew right before we started shooting the first season, for me, you knew it was coming. It was really emotional at the end of it. Like, it was a gong show at the end of it. It was a gong show when we found out it was going to end. But for some reason, it didn't feel like it was closed, you know. And the movie, I enjoyed the movie. Like, it was just awesome. Just fall back into it. And like Brent said, if it happened sooner, it wouldn't have worked. Like, from a personal level as well, probably. And if we waited too long, it probably would have felt weird. So it was the perfect timing for every bit of it for us. Well, for me, I should say, in terms of like, just it wasn't long enough where I forgot how to be Hank.
Right.
Probably because I just am the guy. And then it was also really enjoyable. Like, it was the most enjoyable time I've had working probably ever.
And it's stepping back on that, you know, because you shot in the same town, you know, the sets of the buildings. I mean, that must have brought back a flood of.
Yeah.
It was.
And a lot of the extras were the same people. Like, we used a lot of the extras that were there. So seeing those faces again.
A lot of the department heads were the same.
And like, I mean, just, yeah, from top to bottom, there was like beautiful little moments of memory kind of flooding back to you. And then you're standing there going, wow, I'm standing here with these people that I love, telling this story that I love, and all this time has passed. It's actually quite an emotional experience and so much fun. Like, I love our cast and our crew and the people that worked and gave their heart to this show for so many years, and our fans. So it was like it was a very cool.
The neat element to making the movie was there was so much fan engagement because of Kickstarter and people getting perks. So every day we had people coming in who had had a perk to come meet the cast or whatever. So it was kind of fun. Every day you go to work and you'd meet, these people are from New Brunswick, and they came out here to see the show. And
There was a guy a couple from Texas.
From Dallas, made a trip up. And so it was that was a different part. That was something that was very different from doing the series. But it's like Gabe said, it was, we really kind of did become family over that time. And so,
Why do you think it struck a chord with people in the way that it did?
I don't know. I wish I could put my finger on it because I would just duplicate it over and over again. I could just. But I always go back to thinking that it was authentic. Like, we didn't have an agenda outside of making a good show and making a show that we liked and that we were proud of. Because we kind of went into this thinking nobody's going to watch, and so we were able to just say, well, all you can do is make a show that we're proud of. We'll do these 13 episodes this summer, and then we'll. It won't get picked up, and we'll all go our separate ways.
Yeah.
And so I think as a result, people could tell they weren't being sold or they weren't being pandered to. There was an authenticity to the show that I think people picked up on.
And the voice of the characters and the voice of the show, it was really cool because it wasn't until we all sat down for our very first read-through all those years ago, and I heard everybody say the lines out loud, and that was the first time we'd all been together, and it's like everybody kind of knew each other already. They spoke, like it just was...
There's definitely a bit of magic that you can never put your finger on when you find that chemistry, and it just works, and you can't duplicate it sometimes. It's just, wow, we caught on to something here, that we got very, very fortunate that we as a group were able to find each other in this moment in time. Sometimes that doesn't escape you. You just go, wow, we really got lightning in a bottle here.
And it was pretty pure because our experience for half the year was together in Saskatchewan, spending a lot of time in a awesome small town, and then of course in Regina, but it was like a little,
It became a second home.
Yeah.
And so what's next? Is it Corner Gas the Musical, Corner Gas on Ice, anything like that?
Corner Gascapades?
Corner Gascapades?
Gascapades, I like that. I could run with that.
Is there, like, if this, goes through the roof and the fans demand it, will you do the second film?
I've never thought that is the thing to do. I've always kind of felt that this should be a one-off, that this should be, we should come back one time. I'm a never say never kind of guy.
Right.
But the plan isn't to do another